Welcome to Experience Oldsmar with the Mayor podcast. I'm your host, Oldsmar Mayor Dan Saracki, broadcasting from top of the bay in the old bank building in downtown beautiful Oldsmar. I have a special guest today. I am so excited he's here. He is from the Florida State. He's Florida State Representative Adam Anderson. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks, Dan. It's an honor to be here at the top of the bay. Thanks for having me.
Yep, top of the bay. Thank you so much for coming out to Oldsmar today. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to jump right into some questions and see what's going on with Mr. House Representative Anderson.
All right,
I understand you moved to Oldsmar in 1988. Where did you move from?
Actually, I moved from New Jersey and to St. Pete at that time. I came down from New Jersey to go to high school at Admiral Farragut. My family was always kind of back and forth. This was our spot. We had a lot of family in the Tarpon Springs area, Palm Harbor. So we always came here on vacation and family trips and the holidays. So it was kind of a natural place to migrate to. Went to high school there in St. Pete at Admiral Farragut, and then just never wanted to leave. Ended up going to FSU for college.
That's great. Yeah. So I see here you did attend Florida State University. What year did you graduate, and what was your major?
I graduated in 2005 and had two degrees. Got a degree in real estate and a degree in finance. Actually ended up working both those fields, still do today, which I know is pretty uncommon. Not long after I graduated, ended up actually moving back to New Jersey for a little while in between, finally coming back to Florida for good. So I always joke when people ask me that I left once, I'm never going to make that mistake ever again.
Yeah. So when you went back, did you go back because you love snow?
I went back because I loved a lady.
Oh, there you go. Good answer. Good answer. Yeah. That's the way to do it. All right, let's talk about politics. What led you to consider entering the politic arena?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dan. I get that question all the time, and it's hard to answer in a couple quick sentences. But I'm largely a political outsider. I never had any intention of running for office. Was never really involved in politics all that much, especially at the local or state level. I've just been a small business owner my whole life, and our company was split between offices up north in Parsippany, New Jersey, and then here in Florida in Tampa. And during the pandemic, I really realized how polarizing the state policies were and how the different states handled the pandemic, where our office in New Jersey was pretty much crippled. Our business was almost completely shut down. The office was shut down, of course, for almost 2 years, actually a little more than 2 years. A lot of the schools were shut down too. But we were thriving here. So it really made me realize how important good, strong, solid local leadership is. And that motivated me to get involved in it. And we were doing some great things here in the state during that time. We still are. And I wanted to be part of it.
Well, I remember you calling me. I don't know if you remember that. You said, hey, I was a council member.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, I'm going to run for the House. I want to have lunch. And we got together, and I was like, who's Adam Anderson? I've never heard of you, And then we met, and ever since then, we've been friends.
That's right.
And I supported you 100% all the way to the finish line. So congratulations on that.
Thank you for that.
So this is your first term elected to the House in 2022. What district do you represent, and how long is your term for?
I represent District 57, which I came in right during redistricting, or right after the redistricting. So it was formerly District 65. Well, 57 is most of what was District 65. Mm-hmm. In fact, if it had stayed the same, we probably wouldn't be working together because Oldsmar was not part of that district.
Right.
So I'm happy that happened. The new district, it covers all of Oldsmar, Safety Harbor, Palm Harbor, Tarpon Springs, and the northern part of Dunedin.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're still in Oldsmar. And that's great. How does your office provide assistance for businesses?
Well, Dan, I'll tell you, I have the very best staff in the Florida House. My legislative aide and my district aide are absolutely first class. They provide all kinds of services to our entire district, not just to businesses, really to anyone. Mm-hmm. They act as a liaison between our constituents and any of the state agencies. So permitting issues, licensing has been a topic, especially for contractors. So we're working with them to work through some of that red tape and actually hopefully eliminate some of that red tape for a lot of the licenses. But a lot of times constituents will call or come in and they have issues with things that are not really state issues. You know, sometimes they're more local issues or county or even federal. So we'll match them with the right resources and make sure that they get the help that they need. You know, rather than just send them there, we'll hold their hand through the process or make sure that the right people are getting in touch with the constituents.
That's great because as mayor, I work with different situations with citizens. I can't imagine, and businesses. I can't imagine you're probably in a different level. So because you've got the whole big area. Yeah. Safety Harbor and all Palm Harbor too. So
it's a great district. You know, I always say it is the best district in the county, and the county is the best. Pinellas County is the best county in the state, and the state is the best in the country. The country is the best in the world. So we're in the best place in the world.
I agree. So what bills have you initiated since you've been elected? I mean, you've only been 2 years now?
I'm actually just finished the first year.
All
so
right.
We've had one session. We're about to start our second session. So we're starting to look into what some of the bills we're going to work on for this upcoming session are. But some of the ones I'm most proud of getting done last session, my first session, I would say the very first bill that I filed was our 9/11 Heroes Day bill. And that ensures that students in middle school and high school throughout the whole state will learn about the events of September 11th on September 11th each year. So being originally from northern New Jersey, it was something that was very personal to me. Where I lived as a child, pretty much everyone knew someone that was affected by the events of September 11th. Pretty much everyone knew someone that died on September 11th, either that day or in the years following from getting sick, or volunteers that helped with the cleanup efforts. And I realized with my own kids, if it wasn't for us teaching them, they weren't learning about this. And, if you fast forward to where we are today, we have a whole generation of students and even some teachers that weren't alive on September 11th, 2001. So if we're not teaching it in schools, how are kids going to learn these firsthand accounts of American patriotism and these heroes that arose from the ashes of September 11th? So really proud that we got that done with bipartisan support last
Great
session.
job. Yeah. I remember coming up to Tallahassee and with my wife Paula, and we were up in the balcony.
Yeah.
And you stopped it and you recognized us, and that was great. I really did appreciate it. I want to thank you for that too.
Oh, that was an honor. One of the fun things we get to do in the House is, we might be debating a controversial bill maybe, and we can pause to recognize some other dignitaries that come into the chamber. So
it was really wild because everyone was clapping, and it was just something I've never experienced. I wanted to share that, but yeah.
Come back this session, sit on the other side, and you can get a different view of it.
There you go. I'll be over there. Okay, can you share a few of your committee assignments? What are you doing up there?
Sure. A number of committees. We all serve on a handful. Typically, anywhere from three to five committees. The few that I'm most involved in, I would say, first is our insurance and banking subcommittee. Insurance has been a real hot topic for the entire state, but especially in this district. Premiums are skyrocketing. It's probably the single biggest issue that faces most of our constituents. So very important work that's being done there. A lot of the work that we've done will take 15, 20 months or so. So we took some pretty bold leaps last session with some tort reform. So we're optimistic that that's going to bring in some more carriers into the market. I think we've up to 4, maybe 6 that have been approved to do business in the state. So rates are still jumping, but we're optimistic that should stabilize it. And I remember when we were working on that legislation, a lot of people were saying that, well, this is going to avert a crisis in the state. I have a different opinion on that. I think we actually already have a crisis, and this just prevented it from getting worse, unfortunately. But nevertheless, we did what we had to do at that time, and I think there's going to be some more work that needs to be done there. So that's insurance and banking. My two in healthcare, healthcare regulation I serve on. Healthcare is very, very important to me, important to many of our constituents as well, and health and human services. So Speaker Renner appointed me for this session to be the healthcare whip. So I'm excited to work with our healthcare leadership team on the policy shaping this next session.
That's great. That's wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. Now, how do these committees reflect what you are trying to accomplish while serving in the House?
That's interesting. An interesting question because the committee that you serve on doesn't necessarily pigeonhole you into any policy that you work on. It certainly makes it a little bit easier to work on policy related to the committees that you serve on, just because you have more contact with those members, you have more contact with the staff for each of the silos. But many members pass legislation that are in silos that they don't serve on.
Right.
But for me personally, I have a lot of big plans in the healthcare space, so being part of that leadership team is great.
Well, both committees that you're on are very important to a lot of constituents, even that I talk to. Yeah. Healthcare and insurance are the biggest topics of anything right now for the future of our citizens. So I'm really glad you're involved in that, and I'll be watching. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right. Can you tell us what initiatives you are currently working on? And I think there's a special one you did for the city of Oldsmar. What was it?
Well, we can start there. So we work on all kinds of initiatives, a number in healthcare that I have coming up. But one of the things that we get to do locally is work on appropriations requests and projects. So in Oldsmar, you can probably share some of the details of how important this project is, but I was proud to be able to get this appropriation for $1 million for the city of Oldsmar this past session.
Yeah, for infrastructure. Thank you so much. And you are going to be presenting that to us. We're at City Council meeting. Yes. We are so excited to have you and your staff there to present that to us. And
we have a really big check.
I love it.
Not only the dollars, but the size.
I love it. We'll make it into a paper airplane.
I don't know if you'll be able to do that.
But yeah, you know what? The city of Oldsmar really appreciates your hard work for that appropriation. I know last year when I was in Tallahassee, you and I were talking about it, and you're like, I'm going to get it over the finish line, Dan. Don't worry, I'll get it over. And you did. You worked really hard, and the city of Oldsmar really appreciates, all you do for us. And like you said, it's your first year. And for you to accomplish that, I was really impressed. So thank you. And again, I'm glad you're here to share that $1 million.
I'm excited to come and present it.
Yeah, cool. All right. So what other initiatives? Anything else you want to share?
One that I'm very, very proud of that we're going to build off of is we were able to set up a special grant program to fund research initiatives throughout the state for children that have rare diseases. So it's an area that's personally important to me. I think you probably know I lost my son to a genetic disorder when he was 4 years old a few years back. And truthfully, it's not something I planned to work on when I got to the legislature. And I told you why I ran as a business owner.
Yes.
And, but when I got there, I realized this is an area we can really have some significant impact in. And I think it's really become my purpose to the time that I spend in the legislature will be to advance these initiatives to improve healthcare for children across the board.
Thank you for sharing that. Wonderful. That's fantastic. So you were recently elected vice chair for the 2024-2025 Pinellas County delegations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little about that? What happened there?
Well, we have a great delegation. Again, I think Pinellas County is the best in the state. The delegation's made up of representatives and senators. So we have the most densely populated county in the state. So I joke with some of my colleagues that are up in the Panhandle where one rep covers 6 or 9 different counties. Where here in Pinellas County we have 6 reps and 3 senators just in one county. So it's a big county. Each year, each session, there's a chair and a vice chair. And yeah, I'm pleased to have been elected the vice chair for the 2024 session.
I was there with you at the meeting, so congratulations. Thank you. That's great. Monday we were there. It was great. Yeah, very interesting. What would we have, like 56 speakers up there that spoke for 2 minutes? That's all you give when you cut them off?
Yeah. You
got the guy with the big stop sign. Stop.
Yes, that's that is how it goes. Unfortunately, it sometimes becomes just a math equation. We have this many speakers. This is how much time we have the room for. So you divide it by the number of speakers, and that's what everyone gets. some of them, I wish there was more time because it definitely deserves a much more thoughtful conversation. But the nice thing is that that's a public forum for people to come in and voice concerns or pledge support or, whatever it is. But there's plenty of time after those meetings to sit down one-on-one and have those members of the community work with the delegation.
Yeah, I agree. At the beginning of the meeting, I saw you talk to me, you talked to a couple other constituents, and everybody was mingling around talking and really getting organized. It was actually very well organized by the chair, which is House Representative Linda Cheney. She did a wonderful job chairing it, and I thought it went really well with all Ed Hooper and everybody was there. It was great.
Senator Hooper chaired last session. So, in addition to leading the delegation, a big responsibility is keeping order.
Yeah, exactly. And she did. She did a great job keeping, because it got a little out of hand there a little bit. And she shut it right down, which was great. Yeah. All right. So what do you do in your spare time?
Where do we find that?
I mean, and what is your day job outside of serving the constituents?
I've worked in the financial services industry ever since I got out of college. Co-founded what became a wealth management company, a registered investment advisory firm, where we do individual wealth management, taxes, insurance, traditional stock bond type asset management. And in 2017, I spun off an offshoot of that's called MRA Capital Partners, where we primarily invest in value-added real estate. So we put together partnerships and bring in investors to go acquire buildings and improve them and deliver those returns to investors. So it's a fun business. It gives me the flexibility to do what I do in the Florida house. Good. Which keeps me going, keeps the bills paid. But when it comes to free time, I don't have a whole lot of free time. It seems like, but when I have it, I love the outdoors.
So you're playing pickleball? What are you doing? Just walking, traveling, or
you might be bike? The fourth or fifth person to tell me I should start playing pickleball. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. I don't know.
I've never played, so I don't know.
I've never played either, but love all outdoor things: biking, hiking. Good. Avid fisherman. Enjoy hunting.
Well, I noticed on Facebook, your next question is, how do you balance your family life serving as a state representative? But on Facebook, I constantly see you with your kids. I constantly see you out with your wife.
Yeah. Well, Dan, my family is the most important thing to me. There is nothing more important. After God, it's my family.
That's great.
Everything else is secondary to that. But I'll tell you, with a busy schedule and being elected official, as I'm sure you know, you need to be deliberate about the time that you spend with your loved ones. So it's important that we pre-schedule vacations every year. Then we know that when they're going to happen and nothing gets in the way of it. And then it's just the one-on-one quality time with the kids. All that's important. Being there for their activities.
Right. Exactly. All right. Is there anything else you would like to share with the constituents of the city of Oldsmar? Anything before we close?
I'm glad you asked. I'm very proud and honored to be able to represent the people of North Pinellas County. It's a role, again, a couple of years ago I never thought I would be in this seat, and it truly is a privilege. We have an open door policy. Anyone that has an issue that lives in North Pinellas, we're here to help. We have an amazing team in the office. We have regular office hours every Wednesday. I'm in the office personally. So if there's something that we can help you with, give us a call.
I know firsthand that's true, because when I was in Tallahassee, you were in session. You left session to meet with me for 5-10 minutes. Yeah. And you came out, and I was just really impressed. And the city of Oldsmar is really honored and very happy to have you as our House representative, and working for us and our constituents to keep us safe and to keep our city continue to grow, because that's what we want to do. Is we want to continue to grow, and I thank you for that.
It's an honor.
All right. Thank you, Representative Anderson, for being my guest today. To find a list of podcast segments, visit experienceoldsmar.com. I'm your host, Mayor Dan Saracki. Until next time, I invite you to check out all the great things to do in the city of Oldsmar, including pickleball. There's plenty to do there. You can play tennis, basketball.
Maybe you'll see me.
There you go. Maybe we'll see the House representative on the Oldsmar pickleball courts. Till next time, Dan Saracki out. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.